Hello traders, Rich here and welcome to a new video. Since you guys like my previous video idea about 10 altcoins that are sharing the same pattern, I decided to make part 2. So let's get started, and as usual, cheers. On the previous video, we went over these 10, starting from ADA. It was forming a channel and the same exact pattern on Cake, ETC, Uni, NWC, Algo, and so on, right? So for this video, we'll go over Filecoin and these 10. Okay, so if you haven't watched the previous one yet, I'll make sure to attach it in the description below. So let's start with Filecoin. As you can see, just like ADA and Cake, we have a falling channel, right? Let me remove this one here to focus on the chart. Here we go. So we've got a support area. First of all, it was a demand area, aggressive movement upward, and round number 30, the price is approaching this rejection area, and we are now overall bearish. We were overall bullish previously. Here we go, right? So after breaking above this high, and this is actually a very good example that we were bullish here after breaking this high, impulse correction, and then the price failed to make a higher high, instead made a lower high, and then we have a break below the previous low. So starting from here, now we are overall bearish and expecting a low and a lower high. So the impulse responsible of the break, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, and so on. And you can see that the impulse movements pushing price lower are getting flat and small in size, right? So here we go. Here's our first impulse, a deep correction, a bigger impulse, right? So first steep and big, and then we've got a correction also, but as you can see, this impulse is smaller in size than these two, 1, 2, and smaller, and this one is even smaller and flat, right? So these were steep, as you can see, aggressive movements downward, but the angle of the last two are getting flat, okay? So which would give you an early alert that the bulls might be taking over soon. And it happens to be around this demand area, right? So demand, price retested this demand. We had a shift in momentum from bullish from bearish to bullish, which was confirmed after a break above the high, right? So here's our last high, the price made a new high. So here's our last or updated high, and then we had this high. So this is our last high that the price broke upward. So starting from here, we are now bullish, and last but not least, price broke below this low here. So now we are again bearish, impulse correction, here we go. So the bulls aren't strong enough to close above the last high. For now, this is our last high, just like this example. If price forms a new high, then it would be updated to be the new high, just like this example. So this is what we are waiting for. So this is the idea. I always like to make a detailed analysis for the first one, but of course for the remaining 9 ones, we'll make it quicker because it's the same logic, the same pattern, and so on, right? So for Filecoin, while waiting for a third swing around or a new high, or a third swing, or a new swing around the upper right trend line, to consider it. For those who know me, our trigger swing, I highlight it like this. Here we go. And we are looking for bust stops in the first place because we have a support and a demand zone from daily time frame. So a rejection from the higher time frame, then we zoom into lower time frames to look for bust stops. But in this particular case, we didn't need to zoom into lower time frames because things are clearer on daily. Of course, you can also zoom into H4 and H1. You can find the structure, but for extra confirmation, if you buy here, price can still reject this trend line. So for extra confirmation, it's always better to look for the macro view from daily and weekly timeframes. So this is what we are waiting for on Filecoin, and you can see that it's almost the same, just like Algo, NWC, Uni, and so on, right? So the same logic can be applied on all these altcoins. That's why I've put them in one video. So when we did 10 altcoins last week, so now we are going over 10 new ones. On this one, the exact same scenario, approaching a very strong, it was a demand previously, then price rejected it twice, and now it's a support area. Price is approaching it again, so we'll be looking for buy stops. Of course, from a short-term perspective, we can look for buy stops because it has some room to go from here to here. But from a long-term perspective, just like Filecoin, while waiting for price to form a third swing around the upper right trend line to consider it our trigger swing or the last high, and then and only then we'll be expecting, if price breaks above this last high, the bull cycle to start. Okay, for the next one, for ONT, the exact same scenario. This one is look most likely like the previous one, and not like Filecoin, which is sorry, a little bit steeper. So here we go, also approaching a very strong support, which was a demand area previously. Again and again, waiting for a third swing to come around it, and then we can buy on swing upward. From a short-term perspective, of course, we can also zoom into lower time frames to look for buy setups around this area. So we might see, let's say, but like for this one, I focus on the bigger perspective because this is where you see the same pattern forming. Let's see this one for now. So from H4 time frame, for example, we can wait for this and then a break above it, so you can enter a buy around this. So this is basically it, but from a long-term perspective, we'll be waiting for this to happen as mentioned previously. The next one is Neo. You can see the drawings here already because I've posted this one as a picture analysis and a video analysis on TradingView. For those who have been following me there, I'm also waiting for a very similar pattern on Neo, which is we have a support area and round number 2025. It was a demand previously, also support. Now we're looking for buy setups. If you zoom in, you can also see this structure here. You can draw a minor trend line. You know what? Because we have a red up there, let's make it an orange. So from a medium-term perspective, to know that the buyers are taking over, we need to see a third swing to form around the upper trend line and then a break above it, because this is our last high from a medium-term perspective. But from a long-term perspective, this is our last highs. So high, and inside it, we have minor higher highs and higher lows, then a break above it, and so on, right? So this is it. Fantastic. This is what we are waiting for on Neo. If we move forward, we have MAP. And as you notice, this one isn't on Binance. For example, you can go for Neo, Binance, ONT, and so on. So MAP isn't available on Binance. It's available on Kucoin. And I personally use Kucoin for like specific instruments like this that can't be found on Binance or any other exchange. And if you don't have an account yet, I'll also include, just like the previous video, my referral link in the description below. You can use it because if you use it, you will save 20% discount on your trading fees. So if you trade a lot, you will save a lot of money. Okay, so but make sure that you use your browser and not the app, because on the app you can't really include the referral code. On the browser, you can go for an email, password, and you see a section referral code. So I'll include this code. You can copy and paste it and create an account. But of course, later on, you can log in with the same credentials on the app. Okay, but if you don't want to create an account under my referral link, it's okay. You can go to Google, type Kucoin, and then you can create an account. But if you want to save 20% discount on your trading fees, then this is a good option. So on MAP, again and again, approaching a very strong support area, many rejections from it previously. So now the bulls are taking over, especially after breaking this high here. So now we're expecting an impulse correction. We are currently in a correction phase, and we are expecting the next impulse movement. However, we always wait for extra confirmation, which is a break above the last high, which is very similar to the previous ones. We have a channel, but like the difference here is we already have a third swing formed. So for now, this is our last high, and we are waiting for a momentum daily candle close above it for extra confirmation to enter the buy, and then we can expect a bullish movement here. Of course, we always wait for extra confirmation, because meanwhile, MAP can sit trade lower and form a new swing high, right? So we always wait for the last swing high to be broken upward, swing high, high, here we go. And now we have the break. Okay, so lower highs, lower highs, and now we have the break. So if you enter a buy immediately here, you will suffer from this drawdown. So we want, and anyway, we want to enter at the best rate possible, and when the bulls are finally taking over. That's why we always wait for the trigger. Okay, so these are the two possible scenarios on map, because we already have our last swing high formed around the trend line. So waiting for this to happen. Meanwhile, we can still have one more high before we see a bullish movement. Let's move forward. We've got waves. This one is very similar to Filecoin, right? Because it's steep. What is it? Okay, on Filecoin it's steep, while on theta and ONT it's like flat. So you can see it very clearly here. We have a steep one, and if you go to waves, here we go, right? So for now, this is our last high, but we are waiting for it would be better to see a third swing to form around this area, and then we can enter a buy on its break upward, because now we are clearly overall bearish. So if you enter a buy here, and you are suffering from this drawdown. Okay, so always wait for the buyers to prove control again. No matter if you enter with a worse rate than you can see on the chart, but it's always better to wait for extra confirmation, because the bears, especially nowadays, we are in a bear cycle. The bears are pushing very well. So next we have ICP, right? So here we go, approaching a very strong round number 20, and this one is very simple, waiting for a 13 to come around it, and then we can buy on break upward. Then we can expect a bullish movement. This is our trigger, which is not formed yet, of course, just like many altcoins. It is still forming. Let's fix this one. Here we go. Next we've got EOS, which is a great one, which I personally like. We have a support area, many rejections from its entire area, of course, as you can see. So it's not a laser line, it's from 2 to 3. Again and again, this is our last minor high. Here we go, high, lower high. This is our last minor high. So for the bulls to take over from a medium-term perspective, we need to see a break above this range. Okay, previously we had this lower high, and the break above it. Okay, then the bears took over again by breaking below this one. So now we are overall bearish. The bulls are failing to break above the previous high, and kept moving lower. So anyway, for the pattern that we saw previously, we are waiting for a third swing to form around the upper trend line, and then we can buy on a spike upward. This is where like we don't really have anything else holding the price down, because if you enter a buy here, right, the price can still reject this area and so on. So always wait for extra confirmation. I guess we still have one or two. Yes, we still have BCH and COMP. On BCH, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Cash. So the price is approaching a support area, as you can see, previously acting as a resistance, broken upward, support again. That's why we are looking for buy setups. If we zoom into daily time frame, we can see the exact same pattern here. For the bulls to take over from a short-term or medium-term perspective, we need to see a break above this high here. And from a long-term perspective, we are waiting for a third swing from around the upper trend line, and then we can buy on spike upward. I'm talking maybe fast, because like you already got it all right. The same exact pattern. And previously, this is where what we saw on almost all altcoins. Here we go, break above the previous high, break above the previous low, and we are currently overall bearish, right? Lower lows and lower highs. On comp, here we go. This is our last one, I guess. Again, just like the previous ones, approaching a very strong support area. It was acting as a demand previously, then price rejected it. Again, it's also the round number 200. This is also from a medium-term perspective. We need to see a break above the upper bound of the range. And from a long-term perspective, we need to see a third swing to form around the upper trend line to consider it our trigger swing. As usual, here we go. And then we can buy on spike upward, because now we expect a shift in momentum from bearish. Let me fix this one. Here we go, from bearish to bullish, right? So this is it for these 10 altcoins. It was a little bit faster than the previous one, because you already got the idea. Let me know if you like this series or this idea, and hopefully Like for the next videos, I'll be sharing a different pattern. For example, now we have 20 instruments forming this channel. Hopefully in the next videos, I'll be going over like a different pattern. This is how you'll be learning like how to identify the patterns in a practical way on live examples. Best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one.